candidates dial in as an attendee, so then I'll pull them through if I see them there. But in the meanwhile, thank you, panelists. Thank you, candidates. Thank you, live audience. It's 8 o'clock on a Friday. So in order to be here, you must be really dedicated to the community and to politics, as are me and Steve. So welcome to PoliticsNY with Sky and Steve with a tie.
Hi.
Schneps Media is the only media outlet providing a platform for every single New York City Council candidate to have their faces seen, voices heard, and personalities on display. District 46, that's what we're talking about tonight. It's in Brooklyn. It's currently represented by Alan Maisel. It includes Bergen Beach, Canarsie, Flatlands, Georgetown, Gerritsen Beach, Marine Park, Mill Basin, Mill Island, Sheepshead Bay. These are the neighborhoods you guys know best, and we'll hear more about it from you. And I'd like to take a moment to thank you to our partners at Brooklyn Public Library, who are working with us to promote voter education and engagement for the 2021 local elections, because as we know, this year is going to change all of New York City with all new government, all new people. We have ranked choice voting. That means it's anyone's game, anyone's race. So today's debate, it's 8 o'clock on a Friday, so we'll keep it fun if we can, right, Steve?
Yes.
Well, we'll time you if it gets contentious or whatever. If not, we'll just time everyone so that we keep it short and quick. We hope it's fast and fun. That's sort of the little motto that we've gone by this whole time. So every time you speak, just keep it short and sweet, 90 seconds, and we'll facilitate a little bit of conversation, because the purpose for being here tonight is to really get the voters to learn more about you and how you feel, so that whether they want to align with you, rank you 1, 2, 3, 4, or so on. So with all that being said, I'll check again for the attendees and see if there's anyone else here that's supposed to be on the panel side, and I'll bring them over. But in the meanwhile, let's just get started with some introductions. And instead of a traditional introduction, maybe tell us about yourself and what makes you the best person to represent District 46 this year. It's an open seat. So let's begin with Shirley Paul.
Thank you. Thank you, both Sky and Steve and Schneps Media, for putting this together tonight on this Friday night. I appreciate the opportunity to continue to share with the voters why I'm the best candidate to represent them in City Hall. So everybody knows my name, Shirley Paul. I am a proud Brooklyn girl, born and raised, a very proud daughter of Haitian immigrants. I am a public school kid all my life, went to schools here in Brooklyn, New York, and then I went on to college, historically Black college, where I had the opportunity to work with then Senator Joe Biden. I came back, I had the political bug, I came back and I wanted to do something. I really wanted to change the world, and I recognized that it starts a little bit at a time in your community, on your block, and that's what I did. I got involved. So I've now, as an attorney, I've also committed my professional career to public service, working in various city and state agencies, including the courthouse, New York City Law Department for Governor Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Hochul, and at SUNY, where I had an opportunity to represent a majority of the students that attend our state universities and those who visit our hospitals. So I'm the best candidate because I have the experience. I'm equipped. I can start working on day one because I understand the budget process. I understand legislation. And best of all, I understand this community and I understand Brooklyn as a whole and New York City. So I'm committed and ready to help us as we navigate out of this public health crisis and on the road towards economic recovery. And I want to keep in mind education, keep in mind safer and cleaner streets, equal access to quality healthcare for every New York City resident, and just to improve our quality of life. So I hope the voters will stand with me, Shirley Paul, on June 22nd or in early voting. And I promise I'm going to go in every day and give it the best. And I'm going to use that knowledge and the compassion for the community to represent you well. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hear from Dimple Willabus next.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. First of all, thanks to Schneps Media for putting this together. Thank you, Steve and Sky, of course, for taking the time out to, expose who we are and bringing something for the first time to our community, showcasing the candidates so their constituents will have an opportunity to make their decision. My name is Dimple Willabus. I'm a Democrat running for New York City Council in District 46. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a mentor, and I'm a small business owner. My husband and I moved to this district because we love the fact that the community was very diverse. And in being a small business owner, it gave me an opportunity, a window to the community where people came to my place of business to learn more, for me to learn more about, the ideas and thoughts. And what I found out is that they had the similar interests and concerns that I shared. And in being a community business owner, I was able to see and understand that the cries are not only my cries, but their cries as well. But these are things that needs to be addressed. I'm running for office because I like to look at things as a reflection of my life. I like people to look at my life as an example of what I bring to the table. I do not only bring myself to the table, but I always tell people to look at the way someone's family is raised, the way they align, because the way I raise my children is a reflection of who I am as a mother and as a wife. And for the past 29 years, my eldest child, who's going to be 28, I took pride in raising my children. And I always tell people I raised my husband too, because without a successful husband, um, you know, you have to look to the person behind who that person is. And it's important that we understand where leadership comes from. Leadership comes from within. And for me, I wanted to make sure I invest that time in my family because what the community comprise of. It comprise of families. It comprise of single families, extended families, nuclear families. So for me, bringing to the table, I'm not only just starting on day one, as they say. I want to make sure that people understand what I'm bringing. I've been working in the community as a business owner for the past 25 years, and I founded a nonprofit 5 years ago, the Stalwarts Youth, to empower young people, promoting literacy. And it's extremely important we understand when we look at leadership and people who are going to be representing us in City Hall to see their work and see what they've been doing then instead of just looking at it today and what they plan to do going forward.
Excuse me,
Instead
I'm
of
gonna
looking
have
at
to
the
keep
words.
time. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. So
Thank you. I know I hate cutting people off. Thank you. I'm going to do my hand. I go like this when you have to shorten it up and then that's the timeout and then I'll interrupt you. So thank you so much. Let's hear from Mercedes Narcisse next.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much. And you've been doing an excellent job. My name is Mercedes Narcisse. I'm running for the 46th district. I'm running to represent every single individual in this district. I came to the district, my father was looking for opportunity for us. It was tough for me to access services such as healthcare and all because of language barrier. But through hard work, I was able to graduate from Tilden High, which is a part of the district before the redistricting. And I was able to earn my first degree as a nurse from CUNY University, New York City Tech. And this district is who I am. This is my home. This is the village that made me who I am today, a registered nurse for over 30 years, a mother of 4 wonderful children who are now professional in diverse field of disciplines, a small business owner, which I became the president of Avenue Merchant Association, partner with Brooklyn Chambers of Commerce, able to help other merchants with different to access services basically, and help them with MWBE certification and all. I was part of forming different organizations back in the days when we were having problem to talk about whatever this issue that we have in the community. So we formed the organization to give residents a platform to address issues that matters to them. So my whole thing running for this district, I have the understanding of business. I have an understanding of raising 4 children, become a single mom. and now they are all professionals. I have understanding of civic engagement. I became president of 41st Assembly District Democratic Club, which engaged voter registration. Civic engagement is very important to me, and that's what I've been doing. This district, what I'm the best, because I understand District 46. During the height of the pandemic, I was out there serving. Sandy, I was there. There's YouTube out there. You can see my work. My work speaks for itself, and I thank you for the opportunity. I'm here to serve.
Thank you. Donald Cranston.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Steve. Political New York, Schneps Media, and the Brooklyn Public Library for hosting tonight's webinar. Hello to my fellow candidates and all those who have joined us. My name is Donald Cranston, and I'm running to represent the 46th District on the New York City Council. Public service runs deep in my family. My dad was a New York City correction officer. He raised 7 children. He was the only person to be elected to 2 unions in the city of New York. I'm married to my wife, Kristen, a New York City school teacher, and the father, and we have 2 sons together that go to PS 207. I became interested in politics at a young age. I served on the community board in the 1980s and community board 12, and then worked for various state and city agencies, including the Brooklyn Borough President's Office, the New York City Board of Education, the Battery Park City Authority, the School Construction Authority, and the New York State Senate. I have served as an employer trustee to 2 unions and consult to many businesses around the city on various business and policy matters. I attended Edward R. Murrow High School, CUNY, John Jay, and graduated from St. Francis College. I believe I am well-rounded to represent the needs of the residents of the district of the 46th Council District. I look forward, if I am honored to be your representative, I will work hard for the residents of the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. And Judy Newton. Hi there. You're on mute, Judy. We're just doing introductions, so we'd love to hear about you and what would make you the best candidate in District 46, and you have 90 seconds to tell us that.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Steve and Schneps Media for hosting us this evening. And good evening to my fellow 46 partakers, friends, partakers. Thank you. So I'm Judy Newton. I was born in Barbados, immigrated to New York in the 70s, in the mid 70s, and came from very humble beginnings. The 5th of 8 children, single mother, and came to New York, and I understood the value of a good education. And I worked my way up from a dishwasher and retiring as an NYPD detective, where I was able to serve and made a difference in this ethnically diverse melting pot that we call New York City. My family moved into the 46, into specifically Canarsie in the 1980s, and we've been here and in the surrounding areas ever since. I'm married to my lovely husband. We are both public servants and have done a tremendous of work within our neighborhood. I have educated myself. I have attained a doctorate in education that I'm very proud of. And that is one of the reasons why I give back to my community, because I have come this far. Giving back is very important. I have been volunteering rather, throughout the community for 40+ years. And I am proud to say it, throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, I have been out there volunteering, helping seniors back and forth to the hospitals or to the centers to get their vaccinations. My husband and I started on the Newton Foundation, where we also partake and assist families, specific families, homeless families in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thanks everyone for keeping it short and sweet in the intros. And I'm going to pass over to Steve with a tie for our first question.
As you're all aware, your district is a mass transit desert. So it's a two-part question. One, are you in favor of congestion pricing, which could charge cars a couple dollars to go across the Manhattan, Williamsburg, and Brooklyn Bridge into Manhattan? And the second part of that is, what do you plan? What ideas do you have in mind to improve mass transit in the district?
Do you want to go in the same order? Or do you want it to be a discussion, Steve?
Whatever, Sky, you call that. Whoever wants to chime in first. All right, Don.
Donald.
Definitely against congestion pricing. We're not London. We're Brooklyn. We're 5 boroughs. We cannot do this to the citizens of New York City to go to Lower Manhattan. It's not a good proposal. In our area, we can use some select bus service, some more select bus service routes. They're talking about moving the train, the Utica Avenue line down. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be a welcome. That would be welcome to some parts of the community. So I think they need to enhance the select bus service.
Thank you. Shirley.
I also agree that I am against congestion pricing. And just by virtue of the fact that we are a transportation desert, as someone who's worked in Midtown before, you have to take the bus and then the train. And for people further out, they sometimes have to take 2 buses. So a lot of people tend to do some carpooling, and I don't want them to be hampered by having the freedom of being able to drive into the city. With respect to improving our transportation system here, I think we need to put in some more money to support our buses to make them on time. I used to ride the express bus, and there were days that it just didn't show up. So we definitely need to make sure we have more bus service and on time. With respect to the Utica Avenue line, number 4, coming south of Eastern Parkway, it was something that they presented at the community board about a year or 2 ago, about 2 years ago. There was a study. A lot of people in the community are not so open to it because they don't like some of the nuances that are normally associated with having a train in the community. So I think we'd have to revisit it again and engage the community. But for right now, immediately, we need more money for more buses on time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the burden of increasing, and right now we know how difficult it is with unemployment and all. So I'm not looking into pushing any extra burden on the community where I live or New York City at large. We had explored the possibility of a ferry from here to Manhattan. That I have to still go back, because when we took it in the community board, I'm not so sure if I've seen some of you that's here. We talk about the importance of folks that believe in the environment, the disturbance that we're gonna have by the water line. So I'm looking forward to take it back to community board and have the stakeholder, because it's not about me, what I want for the District 46, but it's what the community need to do at large together. So we'll look and explore the other way, but the buses, I will encourage to have the double buses where you can take more, is a larger capacity and make it more express. And for me, living in this area for over 35 years, my children, I have to drop them in the train station because we don't even have the direct transportation for most of the places, especially if you live by Seaview Village in that area, or you live by Mill Basin or in the back of Bergen Beach. It's very hard. So that's what I'm looking to do. Thank you.
Dimple?
So I want to say that, yes, I'm against any kind of raise in price or pricing on bridge or congestion pricing. I'm totally against it. And living in Mill Basin, it is a transportation desert in Bergen Beach. I take my children to Bergen Beach from Mill Basin. Sometimes my husband and I share a car. Taking the kids, sometimes we walk because there's no buses that would take you into Bergen Beach. I mean, it's a nice little walk, but at the same time, think about a person who's getting out from work very late at night. So there are transportation deserts in the district, and it does need to be addressed. And in regards to the ferry, yes, there is a need for some form of alternative transportation to Manhattan, for workers, employees who are working in Manhattan. Some people who take the bus to the junction as well, or to the L train, it's also very time consuming. And sometimes for me, taking my children to the train as well, I have to walk the kids to the bus stop and then take the bus and then take the train to go to Manhattan. So we need to do something in terms of those transportation deserts as well.
Judy, did you want to chime in on this?
Sure, absolutely. I am totally against congestion pricing. We need to improve on the current transportation system that we have with the appropriate maintenance that's necessary to get our systems up and going. If we need additional, for instance, if we need additional buses, yes, order those buses. And also vehicles must also fit the size of the streets. That's very important, because in New York City here and in the 46, we have some streets that are larger, smaller than others. So those vehicles must fit the size of the streets, and also must be reliable. We don't have enough transportation vehicles in our areas.
I would like to add something really quickly. I know dealing with the MTA takes an extensive amount of time to get things done. I want to add that there are some buses, I know a lot of people are against the dollar van, but there are some that are actually legal and have insurance, so on and so forth. And I know some of those buses, I mean, look, there are people who look at things from different views, but we have to be realistic. It's a form of transportation where people who need to get from one location to the next can get there, especially, like I said, people getting out late at night. These buses actually, these dollar vans actually take people directly at a specific spot. Instead of the MTA have a bus stop, they take them directly to a corner. So that's something to also consider. I know there are buses that does that, the dollar vans that is. So I know that's an alternative for some people in the interim while the MTA kind of gets the bus route together. But I'm saying supporting the ones that are actually legal and the ones who have insurance and doing the right things.
Anybody else want to chime in on dollar vans? It's always a fun little thing to mention.
I do.
We've been having a lot of problem with, especially community board back in many years when we first started for dollar van. I understand where Dimple's coming from. Like if somebody is illegal, they have all the paperwork, whatever. But to me, it will be a challenge. So I still believe in our MTA going our way, and the best way we can make sure that they have the capacity. If we have double deck, because we have to keep in mind about the environment as well. But I will always go with the MTA going my way and for the district.
Can I just respond real quick? Like I said, in the interim of the MTA, these buses actually exist and they do the route. They are in the community and they are working. So I'm saying that people use this as an alternative. So the MTA, obviously I support the MTA, I'm with the MTA, but in the meanwhile, this is something that will take a while to actually put into place what happens in the interim. So I'm saying they exist, they're there, and they actually do those same very routes.
Unfortunately, a lot of them are unregistered vehicles, and there are some problems that are coming along with them. There's not a good. There needs to be enforcement of them. If they're going to be acceptable to the community, then we need an enforcement mechanism in place to monitor them, to make sure that they have the proper insurance. Because that they get into an accident, the passengers aren't covered. Those are our constituents. Those are our residents. They're our friends, our neighbors. They need to be regulated, and they should stay away from the residential streets. They shoot up and down 53rd Street. They shoot up down 56th Street. You live over there, Dimple. You must have knocked on somebody's door all the time, right?
Judy, you have two screens.
Yeah, I'm having issues.
Shirley?
So with respect to the buses, as I used to take the bus coming in from work, and once you're on the bus late, you can request that the driver stop anywhere and they will stop and let you off. I think we need to, because so many people rely on the MTA, they feel more comfortable in terms of safety. And also, just as someone who's worked for a city agency, there's perks when we buy Metro cards and different things like that. So I think we need to focus on what we do have and supporting our MTA system and just increasing the buses that come out, increasing service instead of, an alternative transportation that not many people use. I do know what dollar vans are and things like that. I've gotten in them several times, but I think the buses are the best way. The buses can also accommodate anyone with a disability. So a bus is the better alternative to just beef up what they need.
I must add,
I
I'm not
am
saying I'm in
for
support.
improving
Real quick.
the-
Judy, excuse me real quick. I just want to make a comment real fast. All right, because I just want to make a comment with regards to the dollar van. I never said I'm supporting it. I'm saying they're out there and they'd use this as alternative measures. I do support the MTA. I've never been in a dollar van, but I've seen them and they're all over, especially Kings Plaza Mall. I know they've been trying to get rid of them, but until the MTA does something to help us with our transportation desert, these are going to be the alternatives. I never said I'm supporting the dollar vans in any form or way. I'm saying it exists. We cannot ignore the fact that it exists.
Judy?
Yes, thank you. I am for drastically improving the MTA and its system. There is a safety factor when other ancillary services fall in or come into the equation. And besides, the MTA is a union shop.
Okay.
My biggest concern is environment too, as well. We don't want a stock of other unless it's well regulated, as we said. And improving MTA is the best way for me. And environment is very important because more to the environment.
Yeah, this is a waterfront community, as you mentioned. Any other comments on transportation or?
I'll just say I like dollar vans, but that's me. I've taken them in my day.
It depends where you're located, Steve.
Well, I used to take them to Kings Highway down Flatbush, and I know they run on Utica too, don't they?
Not within, yeah, on Utica. Yes, you're right. Absolutely right. Yeah. But within the inlet of the houses, we had a lot of issue with stakeholders of the community about probably 10 years ago about how to, because we didn't want dollar van in the community. And most people, the reason is just like they're saying that why would they deal with the noise while they're trying to be in an area where they're paying so much taxes, they want to sleep, they don't want nobody blowing their horn, which I can understand. By Kings Plaza, the double parking, people have issue with it. So in certain area, if we can accommodate it, like Dimple was saying, they're already in existence. I do understand that, but our job is to make sure that we're effective in what we do. Wherever we put our dollar, it has to be conducive for the community and the people, the residents of the community.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interject. It's not for me, but I just thought I'd mention it.
Right.
Okay, maybe we'll change topics. I think I mentioned we have a live audience here. So there are some questions coming into our Q&A feature. And one of them is about the police. It's a detailed question, but I guess the jux of it is, let's just talk about each candidate's opinion when it comes to the police. I know I think Judy mentioned she's a former cop, or relations with people have relationships with the police. Let's just talk about the relationship with the police, what you think needs to be done in order to improve your district and our city, taking into consideration everything that's been going on surrounding the issues of racial justice, social equity when it comes to police.
And law and order.
And law and order. And crime and all that stuff. Yes.
To me, our focus should be attacking crime, not culture. And that's what we're missing. We have to separate the number of mental illnesses, which I do believe, as a nurse for over 30 years, that we need Department of Health to address that. We need a different number actually to decrease, because we should not be putting cops in a way that is dangerous to them and the people that they're serving. So a lot of things that we're talking about is, for me, is a police officer are very important. They play a key role in our society. It's to fight crime. So now how we separate that, we have to make sure that the police officers that are serving our community are culturally competent and whether it's Russian, Spanish, Latino, or Haitian, whichever way, they have to be competent to serve the community where they are. They have to have the full understanding. That's right. Back in the days, like in 1997, I had to really go to the 69 precinct and try to work with them to make sure that they understand our children in the neighborhood, the stopping and stuff like that. So for me, we always gonna need police officers. They're part of our society, but we need to make sure funding goes to places that we need it to address, like especially after school programs, sports. Those are the things that we need to focus on for our children, because crime issue don't happen, don't occur in silo. It's a culmination of different issues. So when you have police and you have a lot of things going on, interlacking with what's supposed to be appeared to be crime, that's not really is a culture. Those are the problems that I have. So I'm here to work with people that make sense for the community, so we can have a better community for all.
Thank you. Yes, Dimple. Sorry, I muted myself because my dog is barking.
So yeah, to answer the person's question, they said, would you support defunding the police? My response is no. I would not support defunding the police. We need our police. They're the main stakeholder in our community. One of the challenges is before an incident comes to the police, something would have went wrong before. Sometimes we have to back up and retract and just check to see what went wrong prior to. And one of the challenges is being able to have the main stakeholders, meaning also our youth, our clergy, our community, our youth organization, our nonprofit organizations working in conjunction with each other. So there's not a disconnect. So a lot of our young people have never actually met a cop unless there's an issue happen. So it's very important for us to have the integrated relationship, being able to, have youth programs where, they're able to meet the police. I remember when I was on the PTA, one of the things we did, we invited NCOs of our local precinct to come in and to speak with the kids so they would have a casual relationship. This is building a bridge so that the children don't just know this person only when there's an incident that occurs. One of the most important things, like I said, before getting to talking about the police or defunding of the police, is being able to understand how we can support families, how we can support youths, how we can support, programs, after school programs, especially after school programs that are not, like I've always said, babysitting clubs, instead of actually teaching these children some kind of craft, some kind of trade, so that they will understand how to feel as if something meaningful is happening instead of going to the street corner and hanging out and joining a gang or something. So, of course, as most of you probably know, I am married to a retired Marine and who's also a lieutenant with the NYPD. So not because of that, but the premise is this. We need our police, and they are one of the stakeholders that we always turn to. When anything happens, the first thing we do is dial 911. We need help, we call the police. So no, I would not support defunding the police.
Yeah, I'd love, Judy, your opinion on this too, from an NYPD perspective. Yeah. Oops, you're on mute. Sorry, Judy, you're on mute.
Let's go to someone else and then we'll go back.
Okay, Shirley, we'll come back to you, Judy. Now Shirley's on mute.
No, he's off. So I don't know if you want Judy to finish. You can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shirley. So I lived it for almost 28 years when things were bad in this ethnically diverse city that we live in. That word defund has no place in the police organization. What we need is to have proper collaboration between community and police. We cannot have that us against them syndrome. Nothing will be achieved from that. Nothing good is going to come out of it. I have been advocating for police reform all my adult life. Yes, there is a need for police reform. It's time for policing to move into the 21st century when all other entities have already gone ahead of the police department. The police department is still in our rear view mirror. The system should be changed. Changes should be made. We can all agree on that. There are good and bad employees within the police department. We just have to root out the bad ones where justice can be fair and impartial, but we cannot defund the police. If we defund the police, there's no more police. What are we going to have on the street? Chaos, anarchy. You need the police.
Thank you.
Yes, Shirley.
I think with respect to the money that was already removed from the NYPD's budget in this current fiscal year, I think we need to make sure that that money goes to help alternatives, like programs that deter crime and things like that. I believe Mercedes alluded to there's a bigger issue here. There's a problem. And that means we need to invest more in anti-violence groups and support those groups. With respect to policing, we do need to improve police community relations. And that means we need to step it up, not just precinct council meetings and things like that, but the police also need to meet with other leaders of the community. There are other intricate members in the community, the tenant association presidents, Black presidents. We need to have something that revitalizes that relationship. Growing up, I grew up in Crown Heights, and PALS was the big thing. My brother was part of PALS, where police officers were really a part of the community. Another thing is we also, there needs to be more work done with respect to bridging that gap of the stark differences between those that police particular communities. Understanding the culture, the environment, the people that are there. In other communities, we see that balance because they take into effect the culture, the representatives, the populations there. So I think we need to look at it there. But ultimately, in next year's budget, they need to have funds that are carved out specifically to fund those programs that we know deter crime. That means including year-long employment for younger people, bringing back, supporting those organizations that are deterring crime in the community. We have to take a bigger approach to this. And just as Judy mentioned, there's good cops, there's bad cops. It's just like in every other situation, in every other area of life. But we need to target the issues that are causing the increase and uptick in crime, because we see it happening now. And if it was a direct correlation with removing funding from the police, then the numbers wouldn't look the way they do right now.
Mm-hmm. Donald, your thoughts on this?
For you, absolutely against defunding the police. I actually think that the police commissioner should be separated from the mayor, and not be party to the current mayor's ideology or any mayor's ideology. And he should be elected by the people, and the people elect him because most people, I go door to door, people want to feel safe. They want safety. They want their kids to be able to go to the store without getting attacked. They want their grandparents to be able to go down to the store without getting hit in the back of the head like the 75-year-old woman who was hit last night. It's getting outrageous out there. So I just think that it doesn't need to be defunded. Most of that money is for headcount, as everybody, if you look at the budget, most of it's for headcount. They don't need tanks and the other stuff, but most of it's for headcount. School safety should also not be cut from the NYPD. I've talked to school safety agents. I worked in the Board of Education in 1982 when it wasn't part of school safety, so I have a little insight on that. So it should not be taken out, and none of the parents want it out either. Why don't we just take a poll of the parents? Have all the PTAs do a poll, and let's find out how many parents actually want school safety out of the NYPD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's ask them.
Right.
So I have kind of a fun question now, and I want to start with Donald because he went last couple of times. Say you're home and you need to go get a key made, and then you figure you're going to have lunch. Where would you go?
I go to East 48th Street to the locksmith and get my key made, and then I go around to George's and have lunch. George's the luncheonette. right on Utica Avenue and and I could actually get my key made, walk there, and come back for the key.
Good. Next. Judy.
Oops, you're on mute again, Judy.
In the there's so many good places in the 46, small businesses to be patronized. Well, I could say I would go to the hardware store on Flatlands and East 80th Street to have my key made. And then if I am ambitious enough that at that time, I can walk up to the Arch Diner or to the Brooklyn Diner. There's so many places to eat. And then you also have the smaller shops where you could just pop in and grab a roti or some peas and rice or, you know, escovitch fish. That's what makes the 46 a great place to live.
Okay. Mercedes.
Well, I would go right across the street from my building, which is on Avenue L, to get my key made. And I would have to feel in the mood of what I really want to eat. It can be the diner, and it can be Doogie Restaurant, my Jamaican favorite place. Enjoy, because I enjoyed the district throughout. And Michael, sometimes I used to go, and all the diner, Floridian, that's closed now. I'm always have fun around. I just flip, just like I can flip a coin and know where I'm going.
I guess I should ask, sometimes when you get a key made, you could also buy like a mop there. You know, like there's usually key places you can get a couple things done. Usually, but I'm
and enjoy it.
All right, Shirley, where would you get your key made?
I'd be following Judy and going to the hardware store on Flatlands 80th and 81st. And oh man, I love a lot of places here, but one of my favorite places in the district is called Duet. It's on Strickland Avenue. And it's just a place where you can relax, you can take a serious dinner, you could go on a date, you can make it romantic, it's family, it's good food, it's a Russian chef, but they have a variety of good eats and cocktails.
And Dimple.
So the most convenient place to me, which is right opposite my campaign headquarters, is a mom and pop's place location, which make keys, and they sell everything, diapers, everything. There's all-in-one stop. Go there, make the keys. It's Avenue N and Utica right to the corner. And then right around the corner. So first I should say that I cook 6 days a week, not 7. So it would be an injustice to my husband to say that I'm going to buy out. But if I do go buy out, I usually support small businesses. And the one right around the corner, Utica, Belly Full, which is a nice Jamaican restaurant. Judy, I make the best rotis. I want you to know that.
Well, you should make rotis for everybody here.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I noticed Judy said she liked roti.
Oh yeah, well, I may have to take you up on that one.
So look at Steve, you asked a fun question this time, and I'm going to bring us.
I know, usually I ask the boring questions and Sky asks the fun questions.
But we've switched now. But look,
everybody says a restaurant. I think, well, what is something in the neighborhood? You have to make a key, or if you,
right.
You know, you might need a screwdriver or something, you know, like a place like that, you know.
So look, I'm going to bring us back to Sirius, because another good question came in. It asked, how do we start addressing the hotels disguised as homeless shelters, especially the one on East 49th Street near Utica Park? Is there a homelessness issue there? This person says that there's homelessness in the park, drugs, needles everywhere. And we can make this a discussion, or for each of you to opine on what to do generally about shelters, hotels, and homelessness. Shirley, go ahead.
I think not just in our district, but this city's facing a major homeless crisis. And I think we just haven't really tackled this issue correctly. The shelters, I'm not a fan of them. The hotels that are being converted into temporary shelters. The reality is we just keep kicking the can down the road. We spend almost 3 to 4 times what it would cost to house someone in a place if they were renting it, to put them in a shelter temporarily, than just to bring them somewhere else. So I think we need to build affordable, permanent affordable housing that comes with support services. Because the reality is sometimes folks are homeless for many different reasons. Sometimes it is financial. It could be deficiencies with their mental health. So we need to address a lot of these other issues so that way folks can have sustainable living opportunities. So I think there needs to be job training attached to our permanent affordable housing. And we need to keep our jobs in the city. Ultimately, most people, whether they live, they're renters or even homeowners, they are sometimes often a paycheck away from becoming homeless. And our district in particularly, we have not just, we might not have an overflow of a homeless problem, but we have a huge foreclosure problem. 11236 has the largest, I say it all the time, it's an issue that's near and dear to my heart, has the largest number of foreclosures than any other zip code in the city, which means ultimately most of the people that live there look like me. They are not able to transfer wealth. They can't stay there. They can't let their child go off to school or take a public service job where they earn a little less, but have the security of their homes. So we have to not only tackle the homeless throughout the city, which means keeping good paying jobs, prevailing wages, things like that. So it's a whole influx of everything. But I am not a fan of the shelters. Oh, sorry. Is that your hand?
I know. I hate to cut people off.
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you. Yes, Mercedes.
What we need to do, there's a lot of things we have to work on. We have about 60% of homeownership here, and we are the highest foreclosure, and rent continue to rise. Homelessness seems different in our community because I'm a Caribbean person. We'll put our folks on the chair in the living room before we send them to be homeless. But it is a serious issue. With the moratorium right now, that's for the renters, I'm more concerned because now you're gonna end up with the homeowner not being able to pay the bill. They're gonna lose their home, and the renters, they're both gonna be on the street if we don't do it right. So with the money that just passed for the budget, so I'm hoping for us to use CBOs that being really effective in doing the work, trying to keep people in the home. No one wants to be homeless, but we have other issues. Like I said, job is a problem. We have mental illness crises that are going on around us right now. Joblessness. We have to address so many issues to prevent people from being homeless. So now, how do we keep them home? Those that are already in the apartment, to prevent, they have to know their right to counsel, and they have to understand what is what they can do in the situation where they are. One of the things that I see Kristen Crane mentioned, it's just the increase of the voucher. We don't want extra, because if we don't do that, we're gonna have more homelessness in our street. We have to increase the voucher. That would give people possibility to stay in their home, because once they leave their home, going to the hotel, it costs us much more. It's not cost effective. So we have to do it wise, and having the voucher increase and take the stigma off the voucher, people that going, because we all can go to the same thing. We all could have been there too. And just we probably by luck or by whatever the exposure we have in life, opportunity we had. So now how do we help others is to make sure that we not attaching stigma to the process. Because right now, if somebody become homeless, it's so hard to get a good apartment. They're standing in the cycle with the children, family, so many families are on the street right now as we speak. And folks don't want to even go to the shelter. So do we need a hotel? Our hotel should be for tourism. So we need permanent housing and keeping the people home right now as we speak, and using the right organization to help us out to make sure that we address the issue that they're facing, whether it's mental illness, jobless, whatever, job opportunities that comes big in businesses and keeping our small businesses alive.
Thank you. Yes, Donald.
Thank you. I think the original question was the hotels.
Yeah, hotels and homelessness.
Hotels, hotels don't belong in certain areas, especially in South Brooklyn. There's really, it's not a tourist destination, South Brooklyn. So those deals need to be really, really looked at before they're done. There's no sense. The ones in Sheepshead Bay, the Hilton and whatnot, yes, that's fine. That's along the water. There's beautiful restaurants down there. But the middle of 49th Street and Avenue N is not the place for a hotel. That we should have saw that one coming a long time ago. From what I believe, the same operator is trying to put one on Bragg Street in the Sheepshead Bay area too, and they're fighting it right now. So we just have to be diligent. We have to alert our residents that we're going to have to speak as a community and stop some of these things before they happen.
Mhm. Judy, did you want to weigh in on this?
Yes. First of all, we must put a moratorium on building these disguised buildings that they're calling hotels. Everyone knows it's a secret. They are not hotels. That's not what these buildings are intended to be. They're popping up all over the district. They are unsightly. Imagine you have a house and the neighbor next door sells theirs. And for them to come in next to you and build this behemoth and call it a hotel and then railroad families who are on domicile in these buildings. I see it as a 2 or 3-pronged problem. I suspect that the same people who are building these so-called hotels, AKA shelters, they're jacking up the rents or forcing people out of their homes. Then they're homeless. Then these people must store their belongings in their storage spaces. Don't lose sight of all these new storage spaces that are being built around us. And also, then they go back into the hotel, quote unquote, hotel. So these people are getting away like bandits and they need to be stopped. And that's my reasonable suspicion. It is not good for the community and it's not good for the displaced families.
And Dimple.
Yeah, so housing should, be a right. So many people, of course, are displaced. And when I was the president again of the PTA for my school, there were many parents who were in shelters. Some of those shelters came in the form of staying at a hotel. One of the disadvantages of being in a hotel is the fact that mothers and parents do not have access to a kitchen. So in some cases, they're not able to prepare a healthy meal for their children. As an alternative, they would go out and buy whatever's close. In some cases, it's not accessible, quality food or healthy meals for the children or themselves. And this is not a sustainable life. It's not only expensive to us taxpayers, but it's not doing justice to that family. Of course, there is a need for the city to do better with regards to providing long-term homes for families and in the community too, because one of the parents, as I'm hearing everybody speaking, I'm reflecting on one case in particular. This family was displaced and living all the way in Manhattan in a hotel and had to come here in our district at PS 236 to bring her children. So they would wake up 5 in the morning and bring those 2 children. So we have to be clear on how we're approaching housing and how when we're putting a family into a home or shelter, what kind of space they're going to go into. And of course, as Judy alluded to, the hotels are just one of those guises that are put up there, because where the location is on 49th Street, that's not far from where my campaign headquarters is. It's just, once standing outside, you can see it. And when you see that hotel, how it's erected, you have to ask yourself, how is this even allowed to be placed there? How did a community board approve something like this? It should not be there. It has no business there. It's a residential block. It should not definitely be there. Children are playing in a park. Like you said, there's condoms, there are needles, everything in that park. It's unacceptable. The community should have a problem with this, unfortunately.
I have 2 sentences to add to that also. We us responsible adults have to be more vigilant at those community board meetings. Okay, because oftentimes they come in and they flim flam us. There's no other way for me to put that. Okay, and they skip out of the board meetings happily ever after because they are achieving what they are coming into our areas or district to achieve. Now, one more thing I have to say, we have enough abandoned buildings here in the city and lots that the city can use to build housing for the undomiciled. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh yes, Shirley, you have your hand up, quick.
Just to say, with respect to that particular building there and any others that folks are not excited about, that's one of the reasons why we really need to revisit our zoning process, our ULIP process. It's not the community board that just says, okay, this building can come here. The community board's involvement is so late in the game that it forms as mere advisory versus actually having a real impact. So I think, whoever, God willing, of course, I want to be the member, but whoever does, I would implore you to really push that we change that entire zoning and ULIP process, because that's when us as a community can really have a say into what kind of buildings, height, all of that, what comes into our community. But I agree with everyone in terms of it doesn't belong there.
Thank you. Yes, for the most part, a lot of the candidates agreed, which is a cool thing, but harder for the voters, right? So
now we need to increase the set aside for any building that we build. That's what we need to do. Instead of 15, it should be 20%. And the AMI that we have, it has to reflect the community.
Thank you. Okay, look, we have just a few minutes left, so I want to give everyone an opportunity, I guess 30 seconds for a little conclusion, but leave the voters as part of your conclusion with a word or a phrase that best represents you and your campaign as your final thoughts. Go ahead, Mercedes, you kick us off.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for all my friends here that are running for office. Some of you I have not seen for long, some of you I've seen. So I'm excited to have more people to help me fight this good fight. Yes, the community board is just advisory, and I have been part of community board. We've been doing an excellent job. It just happened that, like you said, the ULIP, we have to find out, we have to make sure that is whatever come in our community is not taking the community out of character. I love District 46. 46 is my home. Like I said, my father came and I'm here to serve. I love this community. It is the village that made me who I am. I cannot desert my community. I will do everything in my power to make sure we do the right thing, not only for District 46, for New York City. I love this place and I'm here to work to represent every single individual and have fun, and our children to keep them in place. Equity, equity, equity. Love you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Dimple Willowvest.
Okay. Well, thanks again for the opportunity tonight. I mean, it was short and sweet. I've served in many capacities. I've served on the Mayor de Blasio's Education Task Force. I've served on Eric Adams as an appointee for the education for our district, serving 38 schools, middle and high school. I served as the president for the Community Education Council and in many other capacity as a business owner on the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce MWBE committee, which I still serve, and also as a certified MWBE business. And what I'll say is that, again, our community need to reflect the kind of community that it is. We need to have leaders who reflect our community, and that's not the case. The unique thing about my candidacy is that we are a grassroots campaign, and everything that we've done is super grassroots. My campaign does not have a consultant, and everything is super grassroots and volunteer based. Everything that you see is 100% organic, coming from me and coming from our team. So, that's extremely unique. And one of the things I'm totally against is the politics of the past 50 years of this community. And it's time that we have new leadership, new opportunity, and a new vision. And of course, I tell the people, join the movement. Thank you. Dimple Willabus.
Thank you. Okay, Donald Cranston.
Thank you. Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Politics New York. Thank you, Schneps Media. Thank you, New York Public Library. Thank you, candidates. Thank you for everybody who's participating. I'm running for this district. I'm running for this seat to represent the residents of the 46th Council District. I will do my best. I was at an event the other night with Alan Mizell. He was speaking. He was getting an award, and an issue came up. And then they asked me what I was going to do about it. And I told them one thing I learned is I will not make a promise, but I will try to get anything done that you bring to the office. Anything is not impossible. So I will represent this district and treat everybody like I treat my family. Every issue is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy Newton.
Okay, as I continue to perform my community service in this district, I am not afraid to go where others are reluctant to do so. I am never reluctant to complete any task at hand. I remain humble. I know and understand the political landscape and who the players are. I will put our families first and build on the legacy of success from the gains we achieved over the years. Yes, there's room for tweaking. I ask you to partner with me to enhance the quality of life in the district, build back better small minority and women-owned businesses, help me protect our senior citizens, our youth, our homeowners, and the middle class. Thank you.
Thank you. And Shirley Paul.
Thank you. Thank you, Sky and Steve, and all the organizers that made tonight possible. Thank you to all of my fellow candidates. The word that I'd say that describes our campaign and what this journey has been is resilient. You know, we were excited to hit the ground running. We got smashed early on because of COVID and couldn't even have like an in-person fundraiser, but we were resilient and continued to make the ask and push. Since the pandemic, on a weekly basis, we you know, give out supplies, food supplies, PPEs. So we're resilient. Even though, you know, I came out, most of us pretty much know each other. We've all worked for this community. Some of us have been part of the same club for a very long time. And we've received different support, some little to none different times, but I continue to be resilient and push it out there regardless of who was with me, because I kept that objective in mind that I'm here for the people. So one thing the community, the voters will know, if you elect Shirley Paul, you will have a leader that will continuously fight for you, that will come back even when you're not happy with a decision that I've made, that will continue to be resilient against any pushback of this new mayoral administration or anything that could hamper us growing together. So I implore you to support me, Shirley Paul, June 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, our
I know a
candidates.
lot of you, one of my favorite districts.
Thank you so much. Good luck to the candidates. Thank you so much. Thanks for being part of it on behalf of Schneps Media and PoliticsNY. Good night. Stay safe. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.